Hello there and welcome back. In this video, we are going to see how you can configure Jenkins to allow connecting to the Kubernetes cluster, which is in turn running Jenkins. So what we will need to do is to create a cluster role binding, and this cluster role binding is going to authorize the default Jenkins service account to access the API. And kubectl get SA, kubectl get SA. This is the service account that we are talking about. And cluster role binding.yaml is going to look like the following. So basically, we want to authorize Jenkins to act as the cluster administrator. So now we can use the kubectl apply-f crp.yaml. What can we do with this? So technically, what we want to do is to install a plugin, which is called Kubernetes plugin. And if you go to the Manage Jenkins and plugins, available plugins, we can search for Kubernetes. And technically, this is going to be the plugin that we want to install. Good. So once the plugin is installed, we can create our connection to the Kubernetes cluster. And we are almost there. Good. So now if you go to the install plugins and use Kubernetes, you can see we have the appropriate plugin available. So now we want to go to the cloud, and basically we want to add a new cloud, and we call this Kubernetes, and the type is Kubernetes. And after that, what we will have to do is to basically configure our own Kubernetes cluster. But what is the URL that we need? So technically, we do not need to configure for now any kind of URLs. And since we have the role-based authentication or authorization, we will be able to connect to Kubernetes. One thing that we want to do is to configure our pools. So technically, we want Jenkins pool and an agent pool configured. And in order to do that, we can use the vi Jenkins svc.yaml. And here we are going to have the Jenkins pool and the Jenkins pool agent. These two things we will have to apply. But first, let's get the pods. Pods kubectl. So now we only have our Jenkins instance running. So let's apply the configuration Jenkins svc and unknown field ports. What? So API version service port Jenkins service version v1 cannot be handled as a service. v2 maybe. No. What is the problem? Let's try to investigate. Okay, so outside the structure. Oh, I have a syntax error. So basically, the ports should be indented v1 and this is also, and this should be v1. Unknown type spec ports. Ah, good. So basically, get svc. This is what we want to connect to our Kubernetes cluster. So technically, if we go back here, we can use the Jenkins URL, and Jenkins URL should be set to the Jenkins pool 8080, and the tunnel should be set to Jenkins pool agent 50,000. And let's apply it. And we can test the connection. That's also working. And what we can also do is to monitor our events. So kubectl events w, events w, and basically here we can see that the last message is the stateful set. So we want to create a new pipeline. Let's go leave this and new. Let's call this freestyle project demo and OK. And what we want to do is to basically create a pipeline definition. So where is it? Configure demo. So we are going to need a pipeline, and we will use the demo as a name for it. And here we have the pipeline definition, and we can use pipeline scripts or pipeline scripts from SCM. And what I want to do is to use this pipeline script definition, and basically we want to spin up a Kubernetes agent, and this is going to be a bash runner. And after that, we want to cat the command and then echo and uname and ls-a. So if everything goes well, we should try to build this demo. And it seems to be running. So technically, if we go here, we will see that a new pod is spin up to execute the pipeline. And that's basically it. So kubectl get pods and -v is the watch. And we can see that as long as the pipeline is executing, we will have these pods created. And now here we can see that the pipeline was successfully executed. So what should we do? Let's create a new project, and we call this scripted, and OK. And here under the pipeline, what we also want to do is to create this pipeline definition here. So basically what we have here is also pod definition, but the difference is the script. So while in the first one, if you go here and go to the demo, under configure pipeline. Let me put it beside here. You can see that here we are using a pod template. And here we are using basically a pipeline definition and asking it to run an agent on Kubernetes. And if we save it and build it, we can continue watching our pods. And you can see that now 2 containers are being created. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is to create a pipeline, and this pipeline should use my GitHub repository, and basically the reaper tbtc, and technically this repository is for a course on Udemy, and what I want to do is to create a pipeline which is going to execute the unit testing part, the PyTesting part, and then it is going to publish the report and create a small dashboard for us when we are complete. And for that, we are going to create a new, how are we? Good. And pipeline steps, good. And pipeline overview, we can see this is working fine. So now let's create our new item. And you know what? That's all. In the next video, we are going to create the Python version.